But anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. My little private conversation. So I'm going to be working on my videos. I'm going to be, writing something at the same time I'm talking. One of the things I like about this channel that I have, this new channel, is it gives me the freedom to really say exactly what I'm thinking. See, when I'm on my PH Lewis 86, the only problem is this. I feel like I restrict it. I think what it is I need freedom. I think we all need freedom. And what freedom kind of gives us is the ability to make a free choice. You might make a choice. Let's say if I was thinking to get a copper red Mazda Miata, with a retractable hardtop, But I was going to get that because somebody, thinks I should get it or whatever. Or whatever, I don't know. Or maybe it was my own decision, but somebody else said, well, you should get this kind of car. You should get that kind of car. I want to choose what I want because I freely chose it. In other words, there is a kind of listening to your own heart, following your own impulse, your own inner whatever, inner voice, as some people might call it, that tells you to choose this. Even if you can't reason out why you want this over that. I'm at peace with getting things I want and doing the things the way I want to do it. And I do that. I actually make those choices. I think that that's what I need, in any kind of relationship. And you're always in a relationship, even if you live by yourself, you're in a relationship with society. That's the truth. People want you to do things, and you have to freely choose. I was thinking about, there's so many things I can talk about, but I'm going to try to keep this restricted to one limited thing, and that is to talk about freedom. I'm not going to go into a long philosophical or scientific neurological argument about free will or the stuff that, what Sam Harris is arguing about, that we don't really have free will, and, how that plays into religion. But I just want to talk about free will, just period. I like the idea of knowing that I'm free to do something. Knowing that I'm free. That I can choose something because it's what I want to do. Instead of feeling pressured to do something. I think I became very sensitive to being pressured. I always think of, when I look at some piece of paper or something, it says this is pressure sensitive. I'm pressure sensitive too. I don't like being pressured into things. Pressured into believing something or seeing something a certain way or thinking a certain way. I don't believe in being pressured. I don't like being pressured. And I think that that's one thing that always happens, I have to live a certain way. It's like when I was in my other job, I would do things to try to make life better for my coworkers. And I felt like a lot of my coworkers were basically people were sitting around just going along with somebody else's program, a program that wasn't working in their favor. So I decided, I wasn't there to create a big gigantic reform or to fight against the powers that be, even though I didn't agree with a lot of things they did. But I decided I'm going to do something to make life a little bit better for my coworkers who were afraid to make any decisions on their own. They really were afraid. They didn't want to do any little thing that could improve things. They don't want to put flowers in the office or decorate things or do anything or anything. So I started doing things like bringing a radio. There was an old radio, but it didn't work very well. So I went out and bought a radio. I started playing music. Then I started, and I did that for a while. And it had a CD player, so I played CDs. And everybody loved it. And it kind of perked up people's attitudes, and it actually improved work production, and people did things. And, then I started adding a few more things, and I started buying coffee. And, unlike the coffee clubs that people generally have at work where you have to pay money, mine was free. Nobody had to pay anything, and everybody was welcome to it. And that's the way I did it. And then I even had a thing where I was, set up a little toaster and had a little raisin toast and other stuff that you could do, whole wheat bread and whatever. People could put stuff on there if they wanted to put butter or margarine or whatever they wanted to put, or cream cheese or nothing or whatever. Bring your own stuff if you want to, or whatever. I had a whole big thing going on where I was treating everybody in this wonderful way, and it was just creating a wonderful environment, and it actually made work go better. It wasn't disruptive. It actually increased productivity because people felt happier. When people were happier, they produced better. And I did that. I did a lot of stuff like that. I did things that made life better because, I believe in doing stuff like that. I don't believe in sitting there and doing as most people do. And that's just, in private they run off and they complain about what's wrong with everything. They complain and say, oh, this is just so terrible that this is happening and that's happening, whatever. I said, no, I'm going to do something to make things better. And that's exactly what I did. I did things to make things better. I made life better. Those were the choices I made. And I felt free to do that. I was free. A lot of people, I got criticism even from my best friend for, doing what I was doing. She criticized it because she felt like I was being too nice to some people who didn't deserve it. Because I had this policy, my own personal policy, of everybody's welcome to have some of the stuff I had. I used to put candy out there and everything. She felt, I think, that I should restrict some people. Some people shouldn't get stuff. Or maybe I shouldn't even be doing that because, everybody's freeloading. People were taking advantage and everything, which some people were. Not everybody. And I thought, if I stop doing this, I'm going to be punishing people who are doing just fine. And people were even being nice. And people were even adding and contributing something wonderful to my life in many different ways. I just thought that, whenever you do something like that, there's always going to be problems. But you know what? It's what you do. It's what happens. You have to do it anyway. It's just a thing with me. And I could see and experience a benefit to this. I experienced a benefit to it. But, she criticized it. And it's kind of funny because when I mentioned about criticism, she sort of denies criticizing things, which is okay, fine. Oh, I didn't criticize you. Yes, you do. Maybe you don't know what the word criticism means, but you criticize what I do. You do criticize it. You don't like it because I'm being too nice to people who you think don't deserve it. And in fact, I've often that was the most common complaint, was that some people would say, well, they don't deserve anything nice. Well, they don't deserve good things, and they don't deserve. But the person who tells me that feels that they deserve nice things. They always feel like, and of course, I think if you were to ask everybody in that group, they would all think the same way. They would all think that, of course, I deserve nice things. Of course, everybody believes they deserve things. People always like to look at the world and sort of divide it into those who deserve good things and those who don't. There are people who deserve nice things and there are people who don't. My thing was, I didn't discriminate against anybody. I sort of am like, as one person sort of described, it's like the sun. The sun doesn't discriminate against people. It shines its light on everybody, on the good as well as the bad. And I gave things to everybody, no matter what. There was no discrimination. Some people thought, and there are a lot of people who actually divided things in their mind and thought that it was a certain way. In our office, there's a lot of racism. I'm sorry, but there is. If people don't want to argue, they don't want to look at it, but it's true. And some people thought I just put all that stuff out there only for the black employees and was, excluding the whites. I never said that, and I never did that. Everybody was welcome. But you know what? People actually act according to what they think. Very few whites ever took candy, although a few started to. Mostly it was black students, and because it was student workers there too, and other employees. It's just funny how people believe a certain reality and they actually act according to it, even if it's not true. You act like as if I set it out only for blacks and not for whites. And in fact, my policy was anybody could have something. If somebody decided they wanted to take a jet from China all the way here just to get a piece of candy, they're free to do so. It wasn't even for people who worked there. It's just anybody who saw something. You can get whatever you wanted. People saw things. And there were people who were harassing other people And I said, no, 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 you don't do that. You know, if somebody, for example, had this idea that this is only for the people who work in this particular unit, and it's only for blacks, and it's only for this, even though I didn't say anything, they would enforce this rule that they assumed I had, which I didn't. I didn't have that rule. And in fact, it ran contrary to what I believed. You know, there's Missy over there having a nightmare. I guess it should wake her up. Anyway, the thing is that, and if you watch this for the first time, Missy is my little Shih Tzu. Anyway, the thing is that that's the thing. People sometimes think that they have to fix a problem. They think they have to solve a problem. They think they have to solve your problem. Because your problem is their problem. You know, and their problem is your problem. And if they have a problem, like for example, if a person has a problem with someone from a different race coming and getting a piece of candy, they have to fix that. No, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You got a problem with people from a different race. I don't. You have a problem with people from a different religion. If a Muslim came by, you might not want them to have a piece. Oh, those people, this, that. No, that's your problem, not mine. You know, I always believe that, you know, when it comes to freedom, I'm free to live my life as I see. And things I don't have a problem with, I'm not going to sit there and try to fix it. And things I do have a problem, I am going to fix it. And this is what I thought. Improve the quality of life in this place. That's what I wanted to do. I know I'm just kind of speaking freely, but this is the thing. Freedom to be who you are, to say what you have to say, and to speak it in your own words. This is my belief about things. This is how I see things. You know, that you have to give yourself the freedom to really unrestrainedly be who you are. Unrestrainedly. That's probably not even a word. But you have to have that unrestrainedness of being yourself, being the person that you are, and making your choices. That's your contribution to the world, is to be yourself. It's just that simple.